drives it into right center field. Hit a ton. This baby is way back. Out of here.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Humm Baby Baseball channel. Today, we're going to talk about potential MVP candidates in each league for 2020. And this video idea came from Chris M. Thank you to Chris M. He joined my Patreon. So my newest patron, shout out to you. And if you're interested in also picking a video topic, check out my Patreon link in the description below. Help the channel grow and get some more extra benefits for yourself. Check that out if you're interested. Would really appreciate it. But let's get going into the topic. We're talking about MVP candidates for 2020 in each league. I'm going to talk about 4 of the prime candidates. Then I'm going to spit out a few other names who may have a chance. And then I'll even give a dark horse, somebody that no one's thinking of who I think might actually have a great season in 2020 and maybe even compete for an MVP. And then I'll finally give my prediction. So let's go through it, starting with the American League. And we might as well get started with the best of the best. And it is Mike Trout, 8-time All-Star. 8 straight times he was in the top 5 for the MVP. He won it in 14. He won it in 16. And then again in 2019. He is coming off a career high with 45 bombs. He drove in 104 runs, led the league with a 438 on base. He is going to be in the conversation every year. As long as this guy can play like he plays, he will be in the conversation for MVP. He is that good. He just won it despite having injuries that ended his season early. He just played in 134 games. Going into 2020, if he stays healthy all year, he is going to be an obvious candidate for MVP. Next possibility is Alex Bregman, on-base machine. Led the league with 119 walks, insane power. He hit 41 bombs, 296 average, 8.4 wins above replacement. Stellar defense at third. He can also play some short. And if he can have a similar year in 2020, he is going to get a lot of votes. He might lose some votes from some writers who are not going to want to vote for him because he's a Houston Astro and there's this whole cheating thing right now, even if there's really no evidence that nothing happens in 2020, because more than likely they're not going to cheat in 2020. But you know how voters can be. They will refuse to vote for someone who is associated with that scandal. So he was on the 2017 Astros. He might lose some votes. But other than that, the guy's gotten only better and better throughout his career. And I have no reason to think he's not going to have a great 2020, put up MVP numbers, and he'll be a candidate. Number 3 is Mookie Betts, 2018 MVP. Like Bregman, some voters might hold something against him. He was a member of the Red Sox, and now they're caught up in some allegations regarding the replay room in 2018. I made a video about it, but you know what? As far as I'm concerned, the guy is absolutely amazing. He didn't have as big a year in 2019 as he did in 18, but he still hit 295 with 29 bombs. He won a Gold Glove. He won a Silver Slugger. He can do it all. 5-tool player, and as long as he's healthy and putting up numbers, he is going to be someone to think about when it comes to MVP. And there's been a lot of trade rumors surrounding this guy, but I think unless it's the Dodgers, I think he probably stays put in Boston, has another great year in 2020. Look for Mookie Betts to be in the MVP conversation. And my last main candidate will be a guy who's in the American League now, and that is Anthony Rendon, and he is a possible 2020 AL MVP. He was 3rd in the National League MVP voting in 2019. He led the league with 126 RBI, 44 doubles. He crushed 34 bombs, 319 average, MVP numbers, and he is a great defender, one of the best in the game. 2019 Silver Slugger, and I expect a big season from this guy in 2020. But the Angels have had major issues with signing free agents who pretty much immediately show some decline. You think about Josh Hamilton, Albert Pujols even comes to mind. Vernon Wells, what the heck was that? That was terrible. But all those guys were around 32, 33 when they signed. Rendon is 29, so hopefully this contract works out better for the Halos, and he will be a legit MVP candidate in 2020. Those are my top 4 guys, the main guys to think about. There's also some other guys. Take Xander Bogaerts. He's going to get some votes. Bogaerts hit 309 with 33 bombs last year, so he is always a possibility. And also, I got to throw out Aaron Judge, even though for me, Aaron Judge, unless he brings that strikeout rate down, I don't think he's an MVP type player, but he's going to get some votes, especially if he can have a season like his rookie year where he can crush 50, 55 plus home runs. You go out there and hit close to 60 or more homers, you're going to get MVP votes, no doubt about it. It doesn't matter if you strike out 200 times, and that's what he's going to have to do. Also, Marcus Semien of the A's had a fantastic year, and he got a ton of MVP votes in 2019, so I can't not mention him. He is also somebody to look out for in 2020 and see if he can repeat his 2019 performance, and if he does, he could be an MVP candidate as well. But my dark horse is going to be from the Tampa Bay Rays, Austin Meadows, 24-year-old, made the All-Star team in 2019, hit 33 homers with a .291 average, .364 on base. The Rays picked him up, and Tyler Glasnow from the Pirates for Chris Archer, who has gotten hit and hit hard in Pittsburgh. This is complete highway robbery. It should be illegal, but I'm just kidding. I mean, obviously, but still, the Rays completely killed it in this trade with Austin Meadows, and he is a great hitter, and I'm looking for Meadows to have an even better 2020 and be a breakthrough star in Major League Baseball, so he's my dark horse candidate for MVP in 2020. But what about my pick? Who am I picking among all those names I just mentioned for the AL MVP? It's easy to go with Mike Trout, but I think that it's going to be someone else. I'm going to say the Angels finally signed a free agent who really helps them and continues to play well, even better, and that is going to be Anthony Rendon. And I say Rendon goes out there and hits 38, 39 bombs, maybe 40. I'm saying it now, Anthony Rendon, 2020 AL MVP. Now on to the National League. I'm a National League guy, obviously, as a Giants fan. NL is where it's at. All due respect to the AL, I love the National League. And so we're going to talk about the National League now. We got to start with the reigning MVP. He just won it, and deservedly so. I cannot lie. Cody Bellinger is a machine. What an incredible 2019 for Cody Bellinger after a 2018 where he kind of struggled. There were even rumors that year he might get sent back down to AAA, and that never happened. He actually played in every game, but he started hitting better. He ended the year with a .260 average, 25 home runs, didn't even make the All-Star team, no MVP votes that year. Nice player, and I just thought, okay, well, maybe this guy's not all he was cracked up to be in his rookie year. And that was completely a wrong take right there, because he is an MVP caliber player and he just won it. He hit 47 bombs, .305 average, 115 RBIs, .629 slugging. I don't know what happened in 2018, just a sophomore slump, I guess, because in 2019, the dude was incredible and he wins the MVP. He is back on track and he's a favorite to win it again in 2020. He does go into funks now and again where he looks bad, but he didn't go into many of those in 2019. So if he can avoid doing that in 2020, if he stays healthy and plays every day, he will have another big year and he will compete for another MVP. Next is the guy who I thought was going to win it in 2019. Actually, I had no doubt this dude is going to win it. The way he was playing halfway through the year, I was like, this guy is it. And then he got hurt, though. Season ended a little early. I still thought he probably should have won it, but it was a toss-up between him and Bellinger. Can't argue Bellinger, but I really thought this guy was going to win it, and that's Christian Yelich, but he did not win it. He hit 44 home runs on the year, but he hit 31 in the first half. I mean, he was on his way to beating Roger Maris. What a season that was. He was just hitting home runs like it was nothing. It was like drinking a cup of water. That's how easy it was for this guy. Just bombs left and right. He was consistent all year long. And if you take a look at his splits, even batting average, .329 in the first half, .330 in the second half. You talk about consistent. And he stole 30 bases. People forget this guy can steal bases as well. In an era where nobody steals 30 bases. He is elite all around, best player in the National League in my opinion, and if he stays healthy in 2020, I see him having another monster year and possibly winning another MVP to add to his collection because he also won one in 2018. So look for Christian Yelich in 2020. Another guy whose season ended early is Javier Baez, and someone actually mentioned in my overrated video in the comments that I should have had Baez on the list, and I don't think I agree with that. I think that this guy is really, really good, not overrated. And before getting into his offensive stats, MLB just put out an article revealing the best defender in baseball using a new stat, outs above average. But not surprisingly, Baez is number one. So you have the best defender in baseball. You cannot ignore that. As long as he hits pretty well, this guy's going to be really good, and he hits more than pretty well. He hits you 30 home runs a year. His batting average is going to be good. He hit 281 in 2019. Yes, he strikes out a lot. Not Judge levels, but he will strike out. His on-base percentage is something to be desired, but he drives in runs, and he is clutch. He comes through when it counts. In 2019, with runners in scoring position, he hit .333 with a much better strikeout rate. When it's time to get it done, he gets it done. He is clutch, and he comes through. And if he stays healthy in 2020, I see him as a viable MVP possibility. And last is going to be Nolan Arenado, and if he's not traded or something, because there's been some rumors, which would be nuts. So if he's not traded to the AL, he is always a possibility. This guy has been in the top 5 for MVP for 5 straight years. 5 All-Star selections, 7 years in the big leagues, and 7 Gold Gloves. He is remarkable. He is consistent. He is excellent out in the field, and he will hit you about 40 home runs a year, and he is going to drive in a ton of runs. He is simply one of the best in baseball. The only surprise is he has not won one yet. And in 2019, he hit 41 bombs, 118 RBIs, .315 batting average. Look for Arenado in 2020 as a prime MVP candidate. So there you have my main 4 candidates for the National League. Gonna throw out a few other names to keep an eye on. One of them is gonna be Ronald Acuna Jr. from the Braves. This guy is really good. He's just a youngster, but in 2019, we're talking about a 280 average, 41 bombs, and 37 steals. The guy is quick, and the guy's got a quick bat, and he's going to pop home runs, and he's going to have a good batting average. If he can avoid a sophomore slump in 2020, look for Ronald Acuna Jr. to compete and to be a possible conversation piece when it comes to the MVP. A couple other names that come to mind are Ketel Marte of the Diamondbacks. You got to give him his due props for an amazing 2019 season. A lot of people don't expect him to repeat that performance, but you still got to mention him. I mean, he had an amazing year, and if he does the same, he'll be talked about. He'll be an MVP candidate again. So keep an eye on Ketel Marte. And lastly, got to mention the Rookie of the Year from the New York Mets, and that is Pete Alonso. What a beast. How many home runs can this guy hit? You got to hit a bunch of home runs if you're going to have a low batting average. You're going to strike out a lot, even though I don't think he strikes out as much as Judge does even. But if he goes out there and hits 55, 58, 60 home runs, you're going to get votes. Simple as that, because that is an amazing season. You're going out there practically breaking records. Obviously, right now, we know the single season home run record is kind of unbreakable because Barry Bonds and Mark McGwire with their, let's just say, enhanced numbers are going to be tough to beat. But still, 61, if you consider 61 the mark to beat, Alonzo might get close. Look for Alonzo next year. But my dark horse, a guy who now has 2 years big league experience. He broke out in 2019 with an amazing year, a world championship, and I'm talking Juan Soto. This guy hit 282 with 32 home runs, but you can just see how clutch he is, how focused he can be with that playoff run, with that World Series. He hit 333 in the World Series with 3 bombs and only 27 at-bats. He is a superstar. This is going to be a great player for the Nats, and I think he'll have a tremendous 2020. My dark horse for MVP is going to be Juan Soto. But my official prediction for MVP in the NL next year, this year I should say 2020, we're here, is going to be Christian Yelich. I got to go with Yelich. He did not win it in 2019. But I think in 2020, he's coming healthy, and I think he's coming insane. The guy is absolutely incredible. I'm not saying Bellinger won't have a great year. I expect him to, but I think Yelich is going to come through in 2020, win that MVP, and he will be the 2020 award winner. So I got Yelich in the NL, and I got Rendon in the AL as winners. And don't forget about my dark horses as well, with Juan Soto in the NL and Austin Meadows in the AL. We'll see how all these guys do. Tell me what you think. I know I left a few names out who could compete for it. I'm sorry about that. I know Giancarlo Stanton, maybe. There are other guys. Bryce Harper could have a crazy year. You never know. There are other guys as well. There's just too many to list. So I'm just telling you my main guys who I'm thinking of as MVP candidates in 2020, and threw out some dark horses as well. Tell me what you think. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. Appreciate you again, Chris M, for joining my Patreon. Shout out to you, Yannick Glover as well, my other patron. It means the world to me that you guys are helping me out. Helps me to make more videos, have me more time to do this and work on Humm Baby Baseball. Check out humbabybaseball.com. Got a merchandise store. Check that out. Check the links in the description below. Got a Twitter page as well. You can get my immediate reactions over there. Y'all have a fantastic day. Thank you so much for your support. It means the world, and I'll talk to you later. See ya! When the Giants come to town.